What? Oh, this video's stupid! Anyway. Hey guys, so I'll take you around with me for a day while I do my treatments planned for today. There's 23 on today's run. I've done one already, so we're just going down to this next one here. Now, it's the point of this video is just to show you the condition of lawns in different areas and basically what happens. So, this one every single year suffers with red thread disease, and it's a type of grass like a fine fescue which produces a lot of thatch. So it needs scarifying regular, which they have been having done. Although they're thinking of cutting down a bit, so we'll have to see how it progresses. But you can see the thatch is holding on to moisture, which is encouraging moss to creep in. They do have a dog as well, which creates all these little sort of green areas, which is weeing on the lawn, which happens. So today what I've done, I put a moss treatment on, some iron sulfate, and this is the process what we're going through today on all of these jobs. But overall, it's very sandy soil as well around here, so everything drains through, it dries out fast. Yeah, they have a lot of brown lawns. There are products we can put on, wetting agents, my emerald green, etc., but the problem is it's getting people to actually have these little extras. Now if it's your own lawn, you do whatever it takes, but when it's a customer's lawn, we're only here once every 10 weeks. And it just ain't enough. If you want that high-end lawn, you need to be on it a couple of times a week doing something. But you guys at home, you can do this with your lawn. So I just want to show you the things that I face on a daily basis. Basically, people's lawns are never as good as your own because you're only coming once every 10 weeks. Anyway, that's this lawn. We better crack on to the next one. Tell you what, it's cold at the moment. We've had a few weeks where it's been very mild, haven't we? And this week it has dropped a few degrees. You feel it when you come out at this time of the day, although it'll be nicer. Electric gates here, just going through these. It'll be a lot nicer in the next couple of weeks, I do believe, so we can get back on and start doing things. I'm looking at starting scarifying and aerating in March. As long as we've got reasonably similar sort of weather, then I think we're on. Wow, there's a lot of traffic here. Best part of half a mile there, that's a long road. Alright, we've just come to third property on my list. So, very heavily shaded by trees in the front here. Now they do thin out, but customer keeps on top of things here, and as you can see, this always does a little bit better. He mows really regular and it makes a big difference, and the soil's actually slightly better as well. So I'm going to take you round to have a look at the back. I mean, in general this isn't too bad. We've got some moss, even though it's sandy soil, and we have some thin areas, but it's to be expected with these trees. There's normally thousands of leaves, but they've all been cleared out of the borders. Whenever I come, I blow them into the borders so that the lawn is getting plenty of light. It's a nice place this. And then we've got this little side lawn here. Normally the pampas grass is quite high and overhanging, but they've had that cut back. And then we come into the back. Again, it's just the usual at the moment, moss. Make sure you get your best shot in. And I like to have a little walk round first to make sure everything's off the lawn, which you need to because there's not as much sunlight around at this time of the year. You know, you can just see I think the soil is slightly better here than the last property, although this whole area today is very sandy soil where we are. Again, there's just quite a bit of moss, but he mows it, he doesn't mow it too short, which will help, and they have all the treatments, which is good. Looks like one of the neighbours is building a property at the back. 2 or 3 properties actually. So yeah, you've got to keep on top of things. You need to be mowing when it's growing. You need to be mowing a couple of times a week, really. Just taking the tops off, so you're not taking out too much energy that's stored in those blades of grass. Right, so I'm off to a quote now. And this is a lady who is a friend of a couple of our customers. So I probably won't be able to film in this one.
Take the next left onto St. Wilfrid's Road.
There you go. Well, that was straightforward. Just a small lawn, 20 square metres. A lot of shade, and the customer's cutting it short. So the short grass with the shade has encouraged a lot of moss to come in. So we've confirmed with the customer scarification, and we're going to put some moss treatment on. Well, I've put some on today. We're going to put some more on after we've scarified to stop any remaining moss spores from spreading. Right, on to the next. Right, we're on to this one now. So again, trees, shade, which can lead to thinning and moss. And we have a lot of yellowing. Obviously, with all the rain that we've had, it washes nutrients through. Now, if there's a lot of water standing around, it causes further problems. So as you can see, directly under the trees, there has been some leaves left on here as well. Playing football, wearing down the grass. But it's not looking too bad overall. It's not looking too bad, and it will improve as soon as we get some decent sunlight and fertiliser. It's going to pick up. So here on the rear lawn again, lots of trees, incredibly shaded down here. So again, we have immense amount of thinning on the lawn. So again, we're just going to put some treatment on, but you can see how thin it is. You've got to get these off. So we'll just crack on. These are all going to pick up and improve in time, but it may require a bit of overseeding every single spring. Well, you get distracted, don't you? Got distracted by a couple of customers, and they're asking me questions, and I completely forgot to get the old camera out and film. But basically the last 2 or 3 we had a locked gate, so I went to the property, the gate was locked, and so that will have to be rearranged. However, if I've got time later today, I'll drive past and see if the cars are back on the drive, in which case I'll go back. Just been to another one. They've asked if we can leave this treatment, which is absolutely fine. I'd rather work with the customers and keep them happy. You know, times are hard, aren't they? The car's just had some major issues to the cars in the garage, and everybody's feeling it at the minute, especially with the cost of living and gas and electric, things like that. So yeah, I think there's been a couple more actually which I've not filmed. The customer was out in the garden and he didn't want to be filmed. So it's time to press on. I'm just looking looking for this next property down here, which is down here. This camera's not in the best place, is it? All you can see is the steering wheel. Anyway, we have a little old Scottish lady here. She's got a soft heart and a firm exterior. If you didn't know her, you'd think she was quite abrupt and harsh. But I've come to know her over the last 12 months, and she's really softened up, and she's absolutely lovely. She's absolutely lovely, and it's how people are. It's just a reflection on how they've been treated in life, isn't it? Where's he going? Well, hopefully she's in. If she's in, I can get paid, because this is she pays cash. She doesn't like to pay online. But yeah, like I say, all of this area is very sandy. So every summer, any rain just drains through. Now I know this customer does not water a lawn. I know her gardener as well. He's actually one of my customers, and he's mentioned it to her numerous times. You've got to water. You've got to water. But people are happy just to let them struggle in summer, and then they come back over winter, don't they? But every year they just get a little bit more thin and patchy and mossy, and then eventually it gets to a point where something needs to be done. So it'll just be a quick look over, but it's a front lawn here. Doesn't look too bad, but you can see little sort of speckles in it, if that's the right word. But you can see where it's gone thin in the little patches, and what's happened is moss has crept in. So there's the little patches there, and moss creeps in, and this is what happens. And we spray it to kill the moss, and then hoping that once the grass starts growing, it will try and fill in. So let's just go and have a little look round the back. A bit more shade around the back. It's not too bad. Now this is interesting. You see the washing line here. You see the little line going up there, and that's where they walk on the lawn when they're pegging the washing out. So that's what compaction does. It's trampling down the grass, so you can see that quite clearly. It's interesting. See the path all the way up to the washing line. But overall, it's in typically average condition. We've got quite a bit of moss around the back because it is a lot more shady. Very mossy here, and it feels really spongy underfoot. So yeah, shade along the fence line, and where there's shade there's no light, and there's no light the grass thins. Right, I'll crack on with this. We'll see you in a sec. Oh, do you know what? Some customers are absolutely lovely. They treat you with respect, kindness, and all sorts. At this property now, as soon as she answers the door, she gives me the cash straight away, and I give her a change. Most of the time, she says just keep it. And every year that I've been here, I think it's 3 years now, she's always given me a little bit of something at Christmas, which is so nice. It's either a bottle of wine or a box of chocolates, something like that. Anyway, let's go and have a quick look at the grass, and we'll take it from there. It's very much a family home. I think these are the grandparents actually, but they have the kids here a lot. But we did a full renovation on this actually about 3 years ago. We've not done anything since. We've got a main lawn here, which is feeling a bit spongy, so it is getting ready for a scarify, so I will recommend that. And then we have a little sort of children's section down here. And they thinned out these trees rather nicely, because this tree is normally, you can't get to this section down here. It's good, we can get in now, so they've done a bit of pruning, which is nice. And you know, when people treat you nice, I'm not saying I go out of my way, but you do make sure that you've done everything absolutely spot on, even though I do anyway, but it's just nice. It's nice when you get nice people. Right, it's what time is it? 1 o'clock. Just having a spot of lunch. Not everybody shares the same passion and enthusiasm as we do for grass, trying to make it look nice and doing what needs to be done. In fact, I'd say at least 80% of my customers are just happy for me to turn up, put something on, and that's it. As long as we're keeping the weeds down, it looks a bit greener, they're generally happy, most people. But every single lawn I go to, I'll see something that needs doing, like it needs scarifying, so I'll write it on and I'll just point it out. And yet, most people don't have it done. So this is what you're up against, and the fact that we're coming once every 10 weeks. They're never going to have Wembley, but you do get the odd person that they expect Wembley from a £15 treatment. So then you've got to explain that it's just not going to happen. Right, we're on to the next one now. It's just a similar thing. A lot of browning. It's ready for a cut. It actually looks a lot greener on screen. And we've got the shaded corners, look, which means grass thins, which means moss creeps in and takes over. Now there's something on the back I want to show you. Anyway, let's take round to the back. There's actually a fairy ring around here. Let me show you the fairy ring. Now from here, you can't see it. Or can you? You see that slightly darker line over there? There, and up there. It's actually a curve. I'm going to take you closer and you can have a proper look. You see it now, can't you? Look how it grows so much better than the rest. Now, we have had a few dead areas in the fairy ring. We have had the two sections, this section and that section, were nearly joined together. But we've been doing something to help, which I'm going to tell you about. And we've had mushrooms as well. I just want to try and give you a good picture of it, but it's more prominent at different times of year. Basically, what we've been doing, we've been putting some turf solve on the fairy ring every couple of weeks. Now, I actually gave the customer a bottle of turf solve, and with the instructions of putting it on every couple of weeks, which was done for a while, but then it hasn't been done since then. But he did tell me that it actually helped, and the mushroom numbers were getting less, and where it was joined together, it's kind of just died off a bit. It's gone back to like normal grass. So we don't all fully know what causes a fairy ring, but it is definitely biological, bacterial, fungal, shall we say. Bacteria and fungus in the lawn, it's all related to that, and certain types of bacteria do certain things. But the turf solve was helping. Now, if you haven't got turf solve, what you can do is you can fork the fairy ring itself, get your garden fork and put it in, and then get some old water after you wash the pots, soapy washing up water, and pour it on. Same with your bath water, pour it on. Yeah, put a bit of washing up liquid in it, pour it on, keep doing that every few weeks, and in some cases it is helping, it is reducing things quite a bit. So there you go. Right, we're at the next one now. Again, customers just, this whole area is very sandy. So as you can see, in summer, it hasn't had enough water to meet its needs. Not that they haven't watered, but it hasn't had enough to meet its needs. so the grass thins, and then weeds and moss creep in. So this is what we get now. The grass has tried to creep back in a little bit, but it's still patchy and hit and miss. And today the customers just let me know that it's very mossy. But this is what we're finding at the moment everywhere. Very, very mossy. So let's go round, have a look at the back. The guy who lives next door actually came out to me last year, and he watches me on YouTube. Bless. So, nice little private garden. Those hedges are very well maintained. It's just, it feels so spongy when you're walking on it. It is absolutely thick with moss. So this would benefit from a scarify, I think. Try and thin that out a bit. Right, better crack on. Right, we've just come to the next one. This is actually a gardener's property. He's one of my customers, and he has passed us several customers over the last year or two. Lovely guy, name's Ian. So hi Ian, if you're watching this. Yeah, this is what happens when people look after your lawn. When they mow it regular, because that is one of the key things, mowing regular and water it when it needs watering. This is also in the same area as all the other properties from today, which is on sandy soil. The only difference is he puts the watering in. If it needs it, he does it. And this is always one of the best ones I come to in this area, which is renowned for being very sandy, full of ants and other issues. But overall, it's definitely doable. You can see a little bit of wearing down there where we've got the washing pole, but in general, it's good. But what else would you expect from a gardener's property? Okay, so this one, got a strip at the side. And then we've got a bit round the back where football is played heavily. There ain't much left. But we're keeping weeds down. It's probably going to need some, well, it's definitely going to need renovating. The question is whether they will. Hey, we'll crack on. Okay, we're just at the next one now. That's actually not in bad nick at all. Nothing really bad to say about that. It's just typical for the time of year. A little bit of browning off in places. The back's a different story. This gets used a lot by the pets. So unfortunately it gets worn down. Very thin along the edges and just generally thin. This is where they come out and down the path. So the whole lawn itself is just thin and patchy. Which unfortunately is just how it is over winter. It's going to pick up once we get some nice weather. But until then, this is what it kind of looks like. So it's important that you do what you can. You try and minimise going on the lawn. You make sure you've aerated so you've got good drainage. And try and let the light in. Any shrubs you can prune back just to help. And yeah, just a case of doing everything you can within your reach, really, within your reach. Right, so we have just arrived at this next property here. Yeah, couple of big lawns on the front and a decent sized lawn on the rear. It takes some doing to look after this, so the customer here does get some help. Now, trees, leaves. We have had a few leaves here which have been on the lawn once or twice, but he has a gardener who does collect them, but still with the shade and the leaves being on the lawn for the odd few days, it starts to thin, as you can see, under all the trees. So it just goes to show you really do need to try and keep things off of the grass as much as you can. That side where the tree is completely different to this side, although it is very mossy and very thin. The moss is caused by damp and shade, and there's quite a bit more shade down this side of the property, so hence the grass starts to thin and the moss will creep in to those spaces, as you can see. Now today we are treating the moss and we're putting a root feed on, just helping things out. We'll have a wander over onto this side, which gets a lot more light. When you look, the sun's up in that way and it comes down onto this lawn, and you'll see what a difference a little bit more light does to your lawn. It's thicker, it's greener, there's less moss, although there is some moss. Then we have the usual thinning here from these trees, but it's nowhere near as bad as the other side. But in general, it's nice. I'm just going to quickly show you around the back. See what sort of issues we have down here. We've got these ton bags here, usually full of leaves. I think these are just empties, but you can see they've been collecting leaves. So down the back, it's a good size, and the middle is nice and open, so it's nice and green. And then when you get along the fence lines, as I keep saying, it thins out because of the shade, which will happen year after year after year unless you can remove the source of shade, which are all these trees. So unfortunately you have to live with these things. You can use a shaded seed, but even so, with a shaded seed, it will only improve things to a degree, because if there is no light, it will not stay. The grass will come through lovely when you seed it in spring, and it will look beautiful. In a shaded section you'll think, yes, I have succeeded. I have managed to plant grass seed into a shaded area and it has come through. We can do that. But then when you come to winter again, it's going to die back. Okay, so again, another tree, shaded area. A few leaves were up here last time I came, but in general, this is what we're up against. Right, I need to crack on and get this one treated and take it from there. Right, the next one here, it's just a typical family lawn. They've got a dog and it's in a lot of shade at the moment, and they keep moving the trampoline around, so it's looking a little bit thin and sparse in places. But when you see things like this, you think the birds have been pecking, which they may have, and they peck because they believe there's something in there like grubs. Now there's every chance there could be grubs, in which case you would grab it and pull, and that's fine. When there are grubs, you can lift it up really easily. So this is all from the trampoline being moved down this side and trying to keep it across the garden. So we'll just go and have a look at the front. Now the front gets a lot more sun, so as you can see around here, sparse, thin, patchy. Let's go and take a look at the front. It's been a long day this. It's currently 4:30. Still got a couple more to go to, but this is looking alright. And this is looking alright. So we've got plenty of sun, plenty of growth, nice and green. Just one more thing I wanted to point out. You see where the dogs weed? That's that nice lush green grass there with the burn mark inside. You see how it burns? Because it's intense urea, and urea is part of nitrogen, or it's basically part of a fertiliser. So they wee, and it's a concentrated amount in the middle which burns, and then as it seeps out to either side, it becomes weaker, but actually becomes a really good fertiliser. That is why you get really nice lush green grass around. So the point I'm trying to get to you is you should still fertilise your lawn even in winter. Now you need to put the right fertiliser on, which is a winter fertiliser with just a tiny bit of nitrogen, but it's more about roots and the health of the plant. But fertilising will help the lawn stay nice, lush and green. You have to do as many things as you can, and the more things you put into the fire, the better the lawn will going to be. The better the lawn will going to be. The more things you do, the better your lawn will turn out. And that's what it's all about. Right, 4:45. We've got 2 left to do. I think it's because I've been filming. It's just taking me a bit longer. But yeah, it's just another square of grass and a bit of moss. And to be fair, this lawn gets very mossy and very thatchy every single year, but then it picks up again in summer. But it's really thick with moss this year, really thick. So it could do with a decent scarify and a bit of aeration just to improve drainage, etc. Right, better crack on before it gets dark. That guy is so funny. He's so funny, he cracks a joke every single time I go, and you never know whether he's being serious. Well, he's obviously joking, but I like customers like that. My dad's very similar. Anyway, let's crack on and get the last job done. Right, last job. So, let's have a look. The customer's just spoke to me. He's been doing some patch seeding, which he's done, and actually here it dipped. And what he's done is dug off the old turf. He's filled in the ditch with soil, and he's put some seed down and a bit of mesh over top just to try and keep the birds out. So that's that. Now they do have a dog as well, so they're suffering from dogweed burns, which you can see just there. But overall, it's doing what it can. There's a little bit of shade. It's usually in shade most of the year, to be fair, until we get to the nice weather. So as you can see, again, under trees, along fence lines, it starts to thin. And with it being a small garden, it gets used more by the dog, and obviously walking around and using it for various recreational activities and pegging, mushing out and things. So that's it. That is it for today's jobs. We'll have a little chat in the van in a few minutes, and we'll see you there. And just before I actually leave this last property of the day, I want to show you this one. Okay. This is also one of my customers, and we came and put some iron sulfate on it about a week ago. You can see the difference it makes. Now, when you actually proper go in and look after your lawn, you scarify regular, you mow regular, you get the treatments, you mow with a nice cylinder mower with a roller on the back, this is what you can enjoy. So I just wanted to show you that it is possible to have a nice lawn in winter, but you do need sunlight. And if you get in the sunlight, it's nice and open on here. If you get in the sunlight, you can enjoy your lawn. So we do this one, and we do 2 over there as well. So there you go. Right, let's have a little chat in the van. So yeah, my point of showing you all of these lawns is not to single anybody out, not to show off, not to say, look at that lawn, that's horrible, and things like that. It's just to give you an idea of what most people's lawns actually look like. Now, people have us come in, we treat the lawns once every 10 weeks, so it's only 5 times a year. What happens in between those 10 weeks is where the magic is, and it's what makes a difference. And that's where people are mowing regular, they're watering, they're not cutting too short, unless it's a grass, which can be cut really short. But then to maintain that same height of shortness, you need to be mowing like 4 times a week to keep that absolutely spot on. So a couple of times a week, not too short, is really key. Get your iron on, scarify and aerate it, obviously top dress as and when it needs it, but the point is just to show that you can have a nice lawn. You've just got to put a bit more in than what you have been doing, and it's possible. Any questions, comments, please leave them down below in the comment section. I will answer as many of those as I can. I genuinely do anyway, depending on how many we get. But yeah, all good. So we'll catch you guys on the next video. Hope you've gotten something out of it. And I've pulled a few pointers out there just talking about shady conditions, wet conditions, and what to do. Right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.